and I didn't used to work in Barcelona because I was working at University in Castelldefels, which is a town on the more on the countryside on the coast. So yeah, it's amazing to come back to Barcelona.
Basically, your job is to connect the great minds of Poblenou making maker things to the great minds of 22 Arrobas. Is that a correct assumption or a correct way of describing your work?
It's maybe too simple because it's too low words, but it's the 22 at 22 Arroba district. It's kind of a technology district, so it was where we have a lot of fabrics here, just producing things. So then it comes the 22 at district, which is more knowledge district with lots of universities here, but also research centers and IT companies. And then you have this, let's say, this mix, no, of because 22 at it's smaller than the whole district, so you have all the industries which are abandoned or where people make their different maker things, and then you have the opposite. No, it's big buildings with all IT knowledge there. So yeah, it's a nice district because you have all in the same place. So you have good entrepreneurs, good workers, good practitioners in the IT part, and then you have all the fabrication part there. So it's a good district to just test things, to make pilots there. So that's the reason that we make there the maker district and making Barcelona pilot project in Poblenou. So yeah, it's that place.
Okay, and you were saying that you were doing your PhD, but then you got the opportunity to apply to a job with the city council.
Yeah.
And so that kind of shifted your gears. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, I was really related with H2020 project, so thinking on what is going to happen in 2050, 2060. So, it's you get really tired it's really difficult to see the impact of your job when you are trying to think.
This was your PhD research?
Yeah. My work at university, I'm a professor at the university. I'm still a professor at the university, but my main job was do my PhD, but also participate in H2020 projects. So the main reason that I go to Barcelona to the city council was basically that you can just make things that will have impact right now. So it was challenging by itself. Yeah.
Okay, and how has that changed the scope of what you feel you can do?
Well, it's amazing because you have the knowledge, or you can apply knowledge that you learned before during your PhD, and also during all the experience that you got during the H2020 projects. And yeah, a lot of things of the open technology, open software, free hardware. So you can get all this knowledge and apply it today. So you have impact by using this knowledge in things that are happening today with citizens that are there. So you can apply this technological knowledge to social issues that are happening right now. Okay. That's amazing.
And well, I'd love to hear more about that amazing part. But how does the application happen? Is it easy? So are you introducing these technologies to IT firms, and how exactly is does the process of fostering the interaction work? How do you go about
we try to make communities of makers on one hand. So we got I think medium-sized community of makers in Barcelona, but specifically on Poblenou district. We try to make community by performing regular meetups where people shared the knowledge between, so you can do some kind of peer learning events. Let's say that you can share your knowledge. The practitioners can learn or can know what is going on from the Barcelona City Council point of view. So it's a good point to share all the things that we are doing, but also to share between them, to know new projects that are happening. So we are trying to make this kind of community on the digital fabrication part. But also we are now trying to make a bigger community, including all the open software communities that are really, not only communities, but also startups and companies that are starting to move to the free software and open code. So trying to make this bigger and try to interact to make a better interaction between the Barcelona City Council and these communities.
Yeah, and how often do you hold these events?
We are trying to do quarterly right now. Yeah. So the last one was in March, and then the following one will be in September.
And it's just 1 day long, or?
Yeah, it's a regular meetup, but it's only 3 hours long on the mornings because people can go and then go to work. So we try to make them short as possible in order to not to interrupt the routine. And then we have also big events like the Maker Fair in June, or like the Smart City Expo that we are going to make, and open week like the mobile week that also happens in February. So we have set of big events that we can just make things there with the maker community on a wide extent, let's say.
And where do you congregate? Is it the same place, or?
No, we try to congregate them in places, in their places. So it's a good question because we are not trying to organize these events from a bottom approach. We are trying to do that from bottom up. So we are not saying, okay, the Barcelona City Council is going to organize a meetup with you. No, we are going to make a coordination table where all of you can participate, and then we are going to decide not only the place but also the contents, also who is going to speak, about what is going to speak, how will be the schedule, the length. So all these, let's say, typical points of a production organization of an event, it's not being set directly from the Barcelona City Council. The Barcelona City Council is just another player on this community. So it's decided all together.
Okay. And thus far, have you noticed projects emerging from such interactions?
Yeah. So we have not only projects, because we are setting up also a subsidiary line specific on digital fabrication and open technology, where we are boosting. The line is called Impulsem el que fas, which means we boost what you do. So we are not trying to just generate new things, but just say, okay, you are doing that, let's scale that. Let's scale your application, let's scale your project. Let's try to just not be you alone, but also just talk with these other people that you are working in a similar manner, and try to collaborate between them, and then just present a project on this call for projects, and just let's make a bigger project. So by using this, let's say, subsidiary line, it's extra budget to the projects, and these meetups where people can just talk and make networkings, you can generate bigger projects. So this is what is happening in Barcelona. We are multiplying the impact by just mixing all the players and putting money there.
And putting money there.
Yeah,
okay.
And
do you also rely on your neighbors?
Yeah.
Ship to be help in coaching?
Yeah.
The project.
That's the other thing. So the content of the meetups are related with how we can be better, like coaching, maybe explaining success stories of what what projects are working and what projects not. So not only success stories but also failure stories to just share the experience and make all the things going better. So this is why what we are doing like a coaching, it's self-coaching, so people, it's just explaining each other what the experiences in their projects.
Okay. Right. So it's self-coaching, and it's people sharing like their success stories and their failure stories to try to gain insights from that.
Yeah.
But also you have, I was thinking of Ship to Be because they're an accelerator, and so they help like people develop their business models.
So we are now in an accelerator. It's not only Ship to Be. All this
building?
This floor. I hope it was all the building, but it's only the floor. It's plenty of different startups that are using digital technologies in this intensive manner. So we are in this kind of place that the Barcelona City Council tries to just to accelerate all this stuff. Yeah. Like Ship to Be.
Okay. Yeah, I just finished a meeting with Mara Balestrini from Ideas for Change.
Yeah.
And so she talked about her pentagrowth model, which is really interesting. I'm not sure you're familiar with it.
Not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Perfect.
And you tell me what you think. I think it's really good as as a tool for like basically really growing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so. What would you say is the what could you give me a couple like success stories, and could you give me a couple failure stories so far?
Yeah, we've got really, let's say, big problems in order to try to organize. It's easy to say, okay, not top-down approaches anymore, just bottom-up, just coordination, just co-creation, and then things will happen in a really coordinated, in a grid manner. So that's a good philosophy, but it's really difficult to implement it if you want that things move quick. So the first time that we performed this round table in order to organize these meetups, people say, okay, I will participate. Okay, so we perform a first meeting with 6 or 7 entities, which was quite okay because it was not a big number, so all the people fit in a room, so we can just make a meeting in just an hour, 2-hour meeting, so it was not time consuming. But then when assigning the actions to just, okay, so you and you decide the content, you and you, when you decide, the schedule, or you please find a place. So it's difficult to engage people in order to perform. People want to be there, but people don't have time to be there. So it's difficult to find the roles or the let's say the specific entities that see that there's a need of a community in order to become bigger. So that's one of the failure stories. We just solved that by making another call for participation in the organization of these meetups, and it was quite successful. So now we are trying to not only, because a community, it's not a set of regular meetups, it's just community also between these meetups. So we are trying to to think how we can just make the interaction continuous. So not only just quarterly, but also make a community. So people just interacting and sharing information between them, not only these days, but also during the period of time. We are trying to find, we are looking for some technologies like Telegram, or maybe some kind of chats in order to interchange the knowledge of the people that are participating. But we have also some experiences from Italy. We make people that it's called We Make. they are trying to do that also, to do a DSI or maker community, and they are using Telegram, but Telegram, they had the same problem that people is not participating that much. They are there, they are, they are on the channel, but they are not participating. So you need effort on dynamization of all this, not only the events, but also all the things that you are doing, like Telegram or the events, etc. You need really a big effort on dynamizing these efforts in order to make them successful.
And when we exchanged on email, you said that these were very exciting times in Barcelona. And so could you explain that?
Yeah, we are. We developed in the autumn last year and during this winter and spring, we developed some guides in order to guide cities and city councils to how to deal with open technologies. So how the city councils can be transformed and can be adapted, can assume all this open technology, open software, free software, and try to change their minds in order to see the benefits of using this kind of technologies. So we developed some guides that we have the content, but now what we are going to do is to make them open. So now they are PDF guides, so it's just a document, but what we are going to do is to make Git books. So maybe a CIO, the Francesca's alter ego of Amsterdam or Ghent or other cities can just get the guides. They are going to be public in a GitHub, so they can be just downloaded. They can be forked, and then they can be modified and adapted to that city.
And so it's basically
like
a governance model in a way. It's basically you're creating a code.
Yeah, you are creating a code.
A code.
You are creating knowledge.
Manifesto.
Yeah.
Of how cities can use open technologies.
Yeah, but we have always experiencing the same problem. So cities can share knowledge. It's easy because all the cities have the same problems. All cities have problems with urbanism. All cities have problems with different themes that are the same, different topics that are the same, but terrorism
or whatever.
So topics that can be solved, or maybe not solved, but improved by means of technology. So that is common on all the cities, but how you apply the solution, it's not common, it's local. So because you have different societal aspects, it's not the same a city of Southern Europe than Northern Europe, it's not the same a city of American city of the United States or of South American cities. So the knowledge is there, so the knowledge you can share this knowledge, but you have to adapt this knowledge to the application. So how we can finally find the solution to solve the local problem that we have in this city. So what we are trying to do with this Git bug is to try to, you get this guide, and then you can adapt it in order to solve your local problem. So you are sharing this global knowledge, like a source code of open software, and then you got the content, you adapt your content by yourself. Your content, this adaptation of the content shall be published, it shall be open also, and then you have your guide adapted to your problem. So this is what we are trying to do. We are going to present the project, because this is still ongoing. We are going to present the project in Amsterdam next in the 20th of June in a meeting we have with CIOs of different cities of Europe, to see if they want to be in the project, to be, let's say, to be the first cities to adapt these guides to their local problems. And then we are presenting all this methodology and all these guides on October in an event that we are going to do. So yeah, it's really amazing, but because you are using all the concepts that we learned on software, on open software, this source code open, but we are going to apply it to just share and adapt knowledge. So I think it's like pioneering in this sense, and it's quite amazing. So,
Yeah. And how do you, so basically you're talking to me about firms and also like government entities like cities, how, like, what is their notion of the benefits that open technologies can bring?
Well, so we have a cultural thing there. So the problem of not it's a problem of sovereignty. So you need, as a city, you need to gain sovereignty on your data and on your technology that other providers are developing for you. So you are paying as a city, you are paying your providers in order to develop things in the technology aspect. So maybe you have the Bicing, all the public bicycles we have here in Barcelona. So it's a good example. The first app for the mobile we developed was just a close app that we just say, okay, we need an app for this, for controlling the bookings of the bicycles, to see if center of bicycle it's without bicycles, and so just to try to move bicycles to one post to another. Okay, so we have a list of requirements, and you say, okay, so let's make a contract with a company that is going to develop an app that it's going to solve the requirements that you are proposing. So this is the standard way to proceed, but the data, it's not yours as a city. The data is going to be produced by this app, it's not yours as a city, and the source code is not yours. So you are developing an application based on requirements, but you are not using the user experience to adapt these requirements to improve the application. Okay, so let's change the approach. Now we are going to say, okay, we are going to make an API from the hardware of the different buildings or installations of the Bicing, okay, and we are going to open the data and say, okay, community, just implement apps. And people will have 4 or 5 apps developed by the digital communities. One we win, we'll have more downloads, and will be better. So you are sovereign of the code because you are going to force that code is open and it's free software, and you are going to get all the data. And it's like citizen science. So people knows the problems because the digital community that is behind the Bicing is using the Bicing. So it's going to adapt the application in order to solve these problems. So this is a good example on why it's better to have open tech than closed tech. We can apply this everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you feel are like kind of the trends, the societal trends, political, economic, technological trends that are favorable to open technologies in Barcelona?
Well, so we are living, let's say, in the last mandate, this three years ago. So but Barcelona is always addressing or tackling technologies. But maybe in the past 10 years, the way to approach how we can make technology, how we can use the technology was more a tech for tech. So let's see, okay, let's make Barcelona to be a piloting city of 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, 7G. Okay, let's stop. So why 5G is interesting for people? Is it clear? So citizens are going to benefit from that Barcelona is going to be a pilot of 5G? Is it clear? Maybe not. So let's see how we can put citizen first and see how technology can just improve citizens' lives, and then just only do the things regarding technology that have a clear impact, positive impact on citizens. So this is maybe the last the last approach of the last mandate we are living. So it's putting the social part in the equation. So not tech for tech, but tech for social good, tech for be better. So as a citizens.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about Francesca Bria's role and how it is to work under her and the different strategies she uses?
Yeah, so Francesca is the Commissioner of Technology and Digital Innovation. So this is a commissioner is a commissioner is just a small team where it can define the way to proceed regarding a single topic. So in this case, the topic is technology and how we can apply technology in the different departments and different situations regarding that the Barcelona City Council is going to find. Okay, so it's really interesting because it's transversal. So you will have, for example, we perform a study about the digital gender gap. Okay, in Barcelona City. So this is a study that we perform as a commissioner, in collaboration with people of feminism department of Barcelona, and then we can have the collaboration between Barcelona City Council and startups in order to develop free software in order to solve societal challenges, social challenges. So it's really transversal. One day you are working on the gender gaps, and another day you are working on open source communities. So that's a nice story because you touch everything, and Francesca, I think it's the right person to make this happen in Barcelona. So she's well capacitated on that. Yeah.
And do you feel like that there are things that are proper in Barcelona that are specific to Barcelona that make this possible?
Well,
as opposed to different cities?
We have a culture regarding technology that it's not only from these 4 years, but it's really it's a bit sorry that it's happening maybe in the last maybe from the Olympic Games, so in 1992. So it's a bit that it's really, let's say, standard in time, static in time. So this makes it happening regardless which is governing. So that's why we are, I think we are on the top of cities that are
so
developing technology.
So it's happening regardless of who's governing. So it's
something
it's a
about
culture. The citizens and the culture.
Yeah, it's part of our culture. So that's why we are, every government that is governing Barcelona, it's just taking into account, it's taking technology. So in different ways, okay, different ways, but always have really a look on what's going on regarding technology. So we are participating in a lot of H2020 projects that tackles these issues. So we have international reputation there. So we are piloting a lot of projects in Barcelona. So that's why we are there. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have did you set up some sorts of measures to measure the impact that's being created, that's benefiting?
Yeah,
that technologies are benefiting.
It's difficult to measure right now because now we are in the year. So we are in the year that everything is under production. So now we are measuring everything, but we don't have now quantify. We cannot quantify right now the difference of applying this kind of action when the action was not applied, because the action is just under production. So,
but at the same time, if you put the measures now, then you'll know what to look for.
Yeah. We have the measures, but we cannot compare right now. We have set
and what are the criteria for the measures?
Yeah, we have developed what we call a data office. So So where we have a data dashboard there. So people, citizens, but not only citizens, but also civil servants of the Barcelona City Council can just take a look about all the KPIs, general KPIs of the city. So this is being implemented, and then inside the Commissioner of Technology and Digital Innovation we have specific KPIs for our projects. So we are trying to measure. It's really complicated to measure the impact because of impact, but you can measure, for example, the media impact that you have. You can measure, for example, how many visits you have in our specific portal, which is it's a web portal regarding only digital the digital technology part of the Barcelona City Council. So this is the most simplest way to measure if people getting more interest in open technology and digital innovation, social digital inclusion, and all the stuff we are doing. Then we have also metrics on what is the impact on the subsidiary lines that we have. So in 2017 we've got 100 projects, 100 projects that applied to the subsidiary line. Right now,
could you define what is the subsidiary?
We wish
like extra money that you can have to give to a project.
So it's just a call for projects, okay, where people that it's applying just have to put the 20% of the whole budget. So Barcelona is financing the 80% less. Okay, so if maybe you have a project on I don't know that you are going to your budget it's only to 12,000 euros, then we are going to put there 50,000 euros to make the project bigger, and it's specific for digital fabrication and open software. So it's
and this has happened like in this last mandate.
It started to happen last year. So last year was and 2017 was the first call. So the call for projects of 2017 are being developed right now during the 2018, and then we are going to have another call that it's the call for project was closed last Friday. So that's why we don't have the exact numbers of if we have increased the impact regarding how many proposals we have. And they will be developed during 2019. Then the next call for projects, the evaluation of the call for projects now it's doing internally. So we as the Commissioner of Technology, we are just evaluating all the proposals and say, okay, these are the best. But next year we are going to do that by match funding. So we are going to use a portal which is called Goteo, that people.
I'm in the same office as Enrique Senabre.
So you know the project perfectly, no? So you have all the proposals will be placed in the portal, and then citizens can just apply for them, just paying, putting money in that projects. So for every euro that as the citizen will put there, the Barcelona City Council will double it. Only for the projects that are going to have a threshold. So when the project is going to pass this threshold, then we are going to double the budget. It's a way to pass the evaluation of the projects internally to the citizens. So because the citizens are the people that they know what they need. So
and I think that's a wonderful way also of, you were saying, of having like citizen participation, right, and making sure that they are not just present but they're also participating. Well, they will participate hopefully since they're putting the money on projects that they choose.
So it's not only say, okay, this project, it's I love this project. No, it's I bet on this project. So if citizens are putting money there, I think it's the best way to see that they are interested. So So it's another way of digital participation, let's say, similar to the CDIM but with another context. So let's see. We have a experience of another line, subsidiary line, that was not related with technology. It's somewhat only related with social innovation, but without technology, and it worked quite well. So we are going to get the same structure and try to apply it for our projects on digital social innovation.
Okay. So to sum up, if say there's a community that has a baby open technology project, what is needed to make it scale and in order to make it thrive in Barcelona?
Well, the first thing that you have to do is to apply to the subsidiary lines. I think you have to do some things in parallel. You have to apply to the subsidiary lines in order to finance this project. Then you have also to go to the Matins Maker, to the regular meetups are called Matins Maker, so Maker mornings, because they are going in the morning, and to know what is the ecosystem, because one thing that we love what things that we take into account when we evaluate projects is if there is a consortium there. So because
if there's a network, a strong network already.
So because if you have a consortium of different partners participating in the project, the probability of success is higher, because you have different people with different expertises just collaborating between them. So this is nice, and this is how the things have to work. If you have just one corporate or just one entity bearing for a project, well, the project will be, maybe it would be a good project, but if you have different stakeholders collaborating, it's perfect, because they are going to learn between them. They have to work together, so they are going to learn between them.
And it's also a little bit more resilient, because they're perhaps like putting their own money to develop the technologies. So these things are really important. One is to ensure that you have budget. The other thing is to know the community, know the ecosystem, just to collaborate between them. And I think with these two ingredients, you can success your project. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll just transcribe this and send it to you. And if you have more ideas,
we can just say, when you made the transcription, maybe I can just add some
things.
Yeah.
I'm looking at basically what is the value that's being created, and also if I emailed Mariona Siger.
Okay.
But because
Mariona it's really busy, because they are
preparing for the Maker Fair.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'd be happy to give a presentation at the Maker Fair.
Okay.
On mechanisms for value capture of open source hardware projects, if that's a topic that would be interesting.
Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah. I can do that. It will be part of my research and probably a part of Wouter Theben's research. Something like that.
So are you presenting there?
Well, I'd like to. I'm offering.
Okay.
I'm offering to present.
Okay, that's why you contact Mariona.
She hasn't answered at all.
Okay.
I mean, I told her when I met her at the Fab Lab, and she said yes, sounds wonderful. And please come visit me at Socotec.
Mariona always says yes.
Okay. Good to know.
The thing, they are closing the program right now.
Okay.
So this means that the program is not closed. Okay. Because they are trying. They have not all the confirmation of international speakers to be there. So maybe they will find a gap. Just insist.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do my best.
So we are not controlling the. So we as a Barcelona City Council, we are paying part of the budget of the Maker Fair, but we are not controlling the contents, because we never control the contents when we just we make things happen, not be part of the controlling the contents of them. It would be nice because it's Richard Stallman is coming.
Who?
Richard Stallman.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So we will have a conversation between Francesca Villa and Richard Stallman about free software and how we can apply free software in cities.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Is that going to be on the Sunday? You know, I'm coming on the Sunday. I can't make it on the Saturday.
Maybe it's on Saturday.
Shoot.
Yeah, it should.
But it will be videoed by some expert video makers, no?
Well, not me, because I'm in Holland.
Richard Stallman, it's really complicated to
Well, I hope it will be documented.
Well,
No?
I don't
Really?
know because of Richard Stallman. Richard
Okay.
has a policy between how the press and the media can interact with him, that it's really complex to I don't know if there is someone recording all the.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
speaking of, you were talking that one of the ways, the criteria used to measure impact is media
Yeah.
impact, and visits in portal.
Yeah.
And it seems that can generate insights on who's interested, on interests, but not in application. Especially since sometimes, not in people taking the technology and using it and applying it to their.
We have also it's not an extensive list of
The thing with media is that there's a lot of fluff.
Yeah,
also,
I know. I know. We have also a GitHub portal that we can also know how many people is downloading our open solutions, which is also a way to measure the impact. Maybe it's not local impact, but just it's more like the global impact on what we are doing.
Yeah.
And then we have the projects that it's easier to measure their impact because they are working. One of the things that we also take into account in the evaluation of the projects is how near are those projects to the citizens. So maybe you have a really big project with a really clear objective, social objective, with a really clear use of open technology, with a perfect solution, but maybe it's not landing on citizens. It's not being applied directly to citizens too. So.
And that has to do with the human-computer interaction and a little bit. For example, I'm thinking of the project Aqua Pioneers.
Yeah.
And it's it has a clear goal. It's interesting, but there's perhaps a gap between how the citizens can use it to grow their food.
Yeah. So Aqua Pioneers, in this case of Aqua Pioneers, I've talked with them a lot of times on how they can gain impact and visibility on Barcelona, and they are developing a line of work on digital inclusion that it's really interesting. So they are just trying to go through learning. So they are trying to get agreements with the consortium of public schools in Barcelona in order to take part of the program, so the educational program, so they can go to schools and just make the boys and girls how this system works, and not only the plants and the fishes and all that stuff, but also explain that these skates, it can be fabricated in a digital Hub Lab, so they have all the maps, all the things that they need to fabricate that. It is public, so you can just go there and fabricate one
for €600.
Yeah. But it's quite nice to see this, how we can adapt a project that in principle it's not easy to see the social impact, on how we can adapt it in order to gain more impact.
And how are they going to use sensors?
Sorry?
How are they going to use sensors?
Sensors?
Yeah.
Why sensors?
Didn't you say that they're doing something very interesting in terms of data for
Aqua Pioneers.
yeah.
No, I've said that they have their hardware, but this hardware it's not easy to see the impact of this hardware on citizens. So it's a nice project. But if you use this project to make the boys and girls to learn how the natural process that they are experiencing, how it's going to work, how it's working. So it's nice to see that a project that it's technological one, it can be applied to this learning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's interesting because and here I'm giving my point of view, which I guess doesn't need to happen in an interview. But when I take the idea of Vicente Guayart and self-sustaining cities and districts and blocks, that's building on the history of Barcelona. And the thing is, like, so the Aqua Pioneer system doesn't need fish. It only needs like the potassium that comes from the fish excrements, which is available in grey water. And it seems that even with the Plancherda, etc., there was already like a good management of grey water, and there's a lack of regulation to put green roofs, to allow green roofs for urban farming in Barcelona. But you see lots of vertical gardens, and it seems to me that it wouldn't be that difficult to use the grey water in order to irrigate vertical gardens to grow plants or food.
That's a nice
and so
idea.
that's basically like a way that like that could be applied to citizens to grow their food or grow their plants. But that's also useful in terms of pollution reduction, noise reduction, etc. So I can see like different ways, and I talked to Guillaume about that their technology could be scaled in a different
ways.
Yeah.
And they haven't thought about that.
Well, it's the sort of thing where I'm reading about Barcelona, and then I meet up with Vicente Guayart, and then I meet up with Guillaume, and I'm like
just type
so
to link things.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Because I think, to me, with the concept of being self-sufficient, making a city self-sufficient in terms of food, well, it's that could be an application, an interesting application.
It's a big challenge.